All right, so to kind of keep the story going. So we moved out the mall. Me and my man Vano opened up a small shop called Gear Unlimited on Dexter. I moved around the block and moved the mall operation to the plaza there on Davidson, and everything is everything. And this is, Lou, you actually, I don't know if you do remember, because you met Eddie, right?
I met him, yes.
Right, so now this has got to be like 03, 04, because the Pistons are playing the San Antonio Spurs for the NBA championship. Mm-hmm. My man Lou, who, my partner, the guy who was behind the camera doing this. So Lou had already started doing this t-shirt thing, and Lou would produce and manufacture our t-shirts for the shop. And what was going on in Detroit at that time was the gas stations had damn near turned into hood boutiques. Every gas station and party store in the city had like t-shirts and shoes and shit in it. So anyway, we had a simple plan, and the people, our friends in the Arab community who own all the gas stations and party stores, definitely was doing their thing with this t-shirt business. And those of you old enough to remember, this is in the heart of the white t-shirt phenomenon, right? Where the white tee had just become a fashion item in itself. So anyway, we have a little plan. We planning on making some shirts, because we were doing like go-back jerseys, and it was just, business is clicking. So, I don't know, Lou, how did you come across that guy, Eddie, who was Sam's partner?
What happened was, I was just working one day at the shop, and he was a vendor. You'd have a lot of the vendors that would come door to door asking you if you need t-shirts, if you need jeans, whatever. And he approached me about t-shirts, and he said, I see you guys make t-shirts, this Eddie guy. I said, yeah, I do some t-shirts. He said, I need a lot of t-shirts. I need to get many t-shirts. It's the Pistons, and I want to put together a small thing of t-shirts to sell along, freeways and the gas stations and so on and so forth. And he knew we manufactured the t-shirts, and he says, I have some of the best t-shirts you've seen. And that's how it started. And then I remember approaching you guys, you, Mr. Hardy, about Eddie.
Right. So Eddie has a partner. We'll just, for all respect, we'll call him Chaldean or Arab Eddie. Arab Eddie has a partner. So that Lou's made the introduction, and him and his partner, well, again, you never know these happenstances. I won't we call him Sam. That's what he was known in the streets. Obviously, I know his real name. We'll just keep it. Eddie's partner is a guy named Sam. Sam, shout out to the whole Goodfellas family, because this man would take me to a whole different level in the clothing game. So anyway, Eddie and met Lou. Eddie brings Sam to the shop, and we got a plan. If the Pistons win, we gonna go into mass production with these guys, make all kind of Piston t-shirts. They gonna go distribute them, because they got the whole gas station party store distribution network set up. All we need is for the Pistons to beat the Spurs, and everything is everything. But right before Game 7, Eddie and Sam come by the shop. They come by Hall of Fame on Davis. And we just kind of meet. And little side note, Sam had a shop on West Warren. And when God wants something for you, it's going to happen.
No, I'll call you back. I'll be right back. Yo, check it out. Nuke at Night, #1 TV show. This your man, Al Nuke. I'm over here in the heart of the West Side, man, Warren and Southfield. I got to get something fresh to wear. You know what I'm saying? Tonight is a big show. Scarface in town, Bun B in town, and I got to get something fly to wear. So I had to search and comb through the whole city to find what was affordable for us. And I'm right here at Goodfellas. Let's go holler at Sam, see if he got some fly shit that we can rock and be affordable. Let's go.
My wife at the time, my ex-wife now, Natanya, she kept telling me, she kept saying, because she liked to spend my money and go shopping. And so she would be shopping all over the city, and she used to say, there's this store over on Warren. They carry all the same stuff that you and Bono be going to New York and that we be seeing at Magic and in Vegas or in LA. You should go in there and talk to the guy. I'm like, yeah, baby. Just you let me make the money and you spend the money, and don't worry so much. See, you can always learn from anybody. So anyway, the same guy now, Sam and Eddie, come to the shop. We're gonna go over the final details of how to get this T-shirt thing going if the Pistons win. Sam walks in my store, and every item in there, he would look. He'd look at some Girbaud jeans, and he'd be like, "You got that at 23rd and 6th Avenue in New York." He'd look at a jogging suit. He'd look at a Fat Farm, or every item. It was like he was shopping, like he had went shopping with me. He knew to the exact location and connect that I had got every piece of merchandise. So I'm like, who is this guy? And he just throws out, let's get this T-shirt thing going. But since I'm already telling you, I know where you're getting your merchandise from. Why don't you come over to Warren and holler at your man sometime? I can probably save you a lot of travel time. I'm like, okay, so be it. I'll keep that in mind. So, unfortunately, the Pistons lose to the Spurs. And our grand T-shirt hustle has taken a hit because the Spurs have beat the Pistons, and nobody wants to buy second place. Close, but no cigar. It's T-shirts. But the seed is planted that my man Sam said, go check them out. So we started to run low on some inventory. We're about to, me and Ivana were about to take another trip to New York. And I said, why don't we just run over here to my man and just keep the lines of communication, another point of business. When you make contacts, in today's world, it's shoot somebody email. Back then, it was at least shoot somebody, page them a text or give them a phone call. You got to keep lines of communications open. A lot of times people make good contacts. They meet, the introduction, the meet and greet goes well, and then people let the relationship go cold. And then when 6 months pass and they need to holler at the person that they met, they don't let 6 months pass, and you feel some kind of way about calling them now, or a year done passed, and be like, hey, do you remember me? When a phone call every month and a half, just say, hey, how you doing? My thing's still going on. Anyway, so let me go over here before I go all the way to New York to re-up for the store. Let me go over here and see my man Sam. See Sam, we shake hands here. Too bad the Pistons didn't win. What can I do for you? We go down to wholesale prices. He's really willing to sell me maybe $1 more than what at the best I was getting in New York or LA. And since I ain't gotta go nowhere, I ain't gotta catch a plane to LA, I ain't gotta catch a plane and drive to New York, I'm actually winning by just buying right here. And we on the other side of town from each other, so I'm like, maybe not. This goes on. I buy, I don't know, maybe my first time I spent some money with Sam, I spent like $4,000 or $5,000. Go through that, and I would re-up about every 10 days. 10 days pass by, I come by, I spend another $3,000 or $4,000 with him. This goes on for about a month and a half. After about a month and a half of this, I'm there doing my normal thing, and he goes, Courtney, let me get a minute of your time. Why don't you come to my office for a minute? We sit down. Now, he don't know nothing about my background. He don't know nothing about my daddy, Courtney Brown. He don't know about Eddie Jackson's story, or he don't know any of that. And I don't make a point of telling people my biography or giving people my resume, especially when I'm in that world, in the regular world. And it's kind of like, if you know about my family's history, cool. And if you don't know, then you don't need to know, because although all of these stories lead to why I'm on YouTube now, and leads to why there's a true crime story, and leads to why half the content you see at my man Al at American Dope, all of these stories lead to how all that happens. But at the time, we don't know any of this. So anyway, Sam asked me to come to his office at Goodfellas, and he asked me an odd question. And Sam's a Lebanese guy, good guy, man. I mean, my guy. So he says, so what we gonna do, Courtney? And I look at him like, what exactly you mean what we gonna do? And he like, is we gonna get some money together, man, or we just gonna keep bullshitting? And I'm like, so what exactly are you saying, man? He like, I've been checking, since that Piston thing, when the Pistons didn't win, you start coming here, you spend $3,000-4,000 with me. You go away, you come back 10 weeks, 2 weeks later, 10 days, 2 weeks later, you come back, you spend another $3,000-4,000 with me. He was like, that ain't, I get what you're doing, but I mean, what we gonna do? You ain't getting no money. If you only, and it's true. I mean, I was doing all right, but after you turn 4,000 into 8,000, you pay your expenses. Maybe you putting 3,000 a week in your pocket. It ain't bad money, but it ain't. He wasn't in it for that. And to be honest, somehow, Game do recognize Game. He knew that I really wasn't in it for no 3,000 a week either. And so I'm like, all right, well, I get what you're saying, but so what we gonna do about this? And he was like, last time I popped in your store, and again, gotta put your ego in place. He was like, you looked a little bit thin on the walls. Now my first reaction, what the fuck you mean I look thin? My store looked thin. The store is I'm thinking the store fluffy, to be honest. And he's like, you look thin on the wall. He's like, why don't you, go on and get right. Get right. Give it that real look. You want basically, he was kind of retailer. You needed to have so much merchandise in your store that the stuff was falling over the tables and you couldn't even see your floor because it would just be full of boxes. So I'm like, well, that sounds good, but half of me is like, oh, you just trying to get me to spend some more money with you. And then he's like, so that makes sense to you? Just let's fill up your store and see what kind of numbers you do if you just overflowing, if you bubbling. And I'm like, so yeah, but so I play a little slow, but I'm like, man, I only brought like $4,000 with me. And he like, I didn't ask you about how much money you brought with you, Courtney. He's like, this is what you do. Just go out and fill up the store. Go back out to my warehouse and fill up the store. So I'm like, well, how much? What's my credit limit? And he, again, a real one. He's like, you run your business. I don't know how much merchandise you need. Take what you need. So I'm like, that is what it is. So we fill up the store. I get $18,300 worth of inventory. Now, a lot of shit is happening fast, and I'll be honest. I had a silent partner, Mr. Hardy, on this deal, and me and him had been communicating. Anyway, the thing was, I thought he had took care of getting insurance for the store. He thought I had took care of getting insurance for the store. Unbeknownst to both of us, we operating in the hood now with, after I get this shipment from Sam, of this 18,000 wholesale, about 40,000 retail, plus what we already had in the store. So the store got about $40,000 wholesale worth of merchandise, 80,000 retail, and we ain't got no insurance. I think Mr. Hardy didn't took care of the insurance. Mr. Hardy think I didn't took care of the insurance.
Ooh.
So once I got all this merchandise from Sam, the hood talk like TMZ, news travel, fact. Oh, they got everything, and then they got the whole line, Sean John, Rockaway, this, that, and the third. Maybe we had that store filled like that for about 3 days.
Yeah.
And heartbreaking, man. Like
they couldn't sleep.
That Saturday, I come in, pull up gate. It's about 6 shirts left in that store. I mean, they cleaned us out. I call Mr. Hardy, tell him what happened. He like, all right, you want to make the claim or I'm making the claim? I'm like, well, you got the insurance information, Mr. Hardy. You got to make the claim. And he's like, no, Courtney, you got the insurance information. Then it hits both of us. Oh, we're hit. We're hit. We are uninsured. It's gone. So here we go, right? This reality of doing business, this reality of doing business in the hood, this reality of not making sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. We've been just humming along doing business. A real important thing, like both partners taking the chance to look and be like, the insurance is, put that to bed, right? Let's make sure, because that's kind of important. Let's make sure the insurance. Anyway, we hit. It's time to man up. So now I got to go to this man who just 4 days ago, out the blue, had enough faith in me and thought enough of my business acumen and my style to front me $18,000 worth of clothes. Now I got to go back and tell this man, well, here the thing. They stole all that shit and we didn't have no insurance on it. So I go back and I tell him this, and I'm like, look, man, you know, I'll be honest, I could go get another 18, but I ain't gonna go rob Peter to pay Paul, and my real estate business ain't got nothing to do with my clothing business. My family money ain't got nothing to do with this, so here it is. And he gives me this look of disappointment, like, man, I thought you was a different kind of guy, but here you go with this bullshit story, right? Yeah, you didn't have no insurance, and they done stole all the shit I gave you. But I tell him something. I say, check this out, Sam. One moment. Let's
cut.